Hi, I'm Wyatt Cash with Scoop News Group, and we're here with Darren Pulsipher, Chief Solution Architect. You know what? I'm going to do that one more time. Sorry about that.
No problem.
3, 2, and 1. Hi, I'm Wyatt Cash with Scoop News Group, and we're here with Darren Pulsipher, Chief Solution Architect at Public Sector arm of Intel. Darren, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Wyatt, for having me on.
So we're here to talk today about building a data-driven government. And my first question for you is, given the explosion of data from intelligent applications and infrastructure, what agencies need to do to really leverage data to become actually more data-driven?
Well, I think probably one of the first things we have to look at is finding out where all my data is. When I've talked to all the different departments in the government, which I've talked to quite a few of you guys, that's the number one thing you guys are worried about, finding out where my data is first, where it's being generated, what classification the data is in, and first just kind of wrangling all of that. That seems to be one of the biggest issues that we have to address first.
Well, what must agencies really be thinking about in the post-pandemic environment now that we're going into to manage and secure and analyze data that's increasingly taking shape at the edge of many agencies' enterprise environments?
Yeah, this is a really interesting one, because what we have found with the pandemic itself is we started using more SaaS tools, software as a service tools, like video conferencing, and and someone records that video conference. Where is that recording being stored? Or I'm using collaboration tools more. Where is that IP being stored? Who has access to it? So there's a lot of things you need to worry about. Number one, security. Understanding that your attack surface is much larger now. Understanding that your data is now spread across multiple clouds, across multiple data centers. This is an issue that you have to deal with. And like I said before, understanding where all that data is probably your number one issue. But you got to put your investigation hat on and your magnifying glass to go find out where all this stuff is. We've been surprised at times, even inside Intel, when we record something, or we're even seeing people use AI bots in conference meetings to keep notes. Well, where's that video or audio stream going? And where's it being transcribed and that coming back? So you've got to really get your head around all the different ways that data is now being used, because over the last year and a half, major shifts in the way data is being generated and used.
Well, to build on that a little further, how is the expected growth and distributed nature of digital workloads, the way you just described, reshaping the need for agencies to think about prioritizing their investments around on-prem, hybrid, and public cloud environments?
Yeah, this is another interesting thing. We've also seen with the increase in the number of people working remotely now, we've seen a higher dependency on clouds. And it's bit us this last year. We've had some major cloud outages on all the primary cloud service providers. So making sure that you have a multi-cloud strategy is extremely important, right? If you rely on just one video conferencing solution and they have an outage, then you're down. And if it's a critical meeting, then you need to have backup. You need to have alternatives to do that. And luckily, there's lots of alternatives now for a lot of these SaaS offerings and even just cloud offerings. I tell people, be mindful that you don't want a single source, especially in these early days of cloud, because cloud reliability is not where it should be. I mean, we're talking sub 95%. We've had that much outage in the cloud community this year. So those are some things you need to worry about and have a plan for.
Mm-hmm. And then lastly, Darren, Thinking about how digital transformation has helped agencies navigate through the pandemic, what can agencies do to keep building on that momentum and supporting remote workers and also improve citizen services?
One thing that I thought was very fascinating about COVID and what it did, there's an unsung hero on keeping the economy going, and that was the IT professional, and the CIOs. Because what the CIOs did was they learned that they couldn't make every decision, and they started pushing decisions down to closer to where they needed to be made, closer to where the impact was felt the most. So I think if we can keep that momentum, we can really shift much faster than we did before. Talking to a lot of people, they had their Office 365 migration plan that was a 2-year plan. COVID hit, it turned into a 2-week plan. Well, why did it need to take 2 years? Because there were too many people in the decision chain. So coming up with those strategies to move fast, and it's okay to move fast, is something that I think will help us continue to move forward. If we go back to the old ways, then we're going to be stuck in a quagmire, and that's just not feasible moving forward.
Some great points and observations there. Well, Darren Pulsipher, thank you so much for joining us here today to talk about building a data-driven government and sharing some of your insights. I really appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, Wyatt.